Okay, so to get started, this is Learn to Blog. Thank you for joining me here today. This is provided in conjunction with the Federated Women's Institutes of Canada. As many of you know, WI Canada is a registered nonprofit, community-based, with representatives from every province, almost every province in Canada. You can learn more at fwic.ca. And my name is Jennifer Gyuricska. I run Prairie Telegraph Digital Marketing, and I work with WI Canada on their marketing and communications initiatives. I'm a member of the Greater Fredericton Women's Institute, part of the New Brunswick Women's Institutes. And I have been in the field for over 20 years. Hard to believe. It goes so fast. So a blog post. Basically, this is an informal or formal article. According to Wikipedia, it's a truncation of the word weblog. Text entries, diary style. And for this seminar, we're going to use the WI Canada blog as our medium, and we'll base our examples as if you, my participants here, are writing for the WI Canada website. One of the first questions many people have is, how did they know what to write about? So good content is subjective, like they say on the ProBlogger website. What's good for one person might not necessarily be good for the other. What our aim is always to do is to write something that you're proud of, that you're glad to have written. And I often think of these akin to the essays that I learned how to write in middle school. So choosing a topic, I choose something that I am interested in or excited about, something that I want to show other people, or something that I have an opinion on. So if we're WI members, we can often just look to our own branches, our neighbors, and our sisters within the organization to determine what they're interested in, what they're talking about. So our regular meetings are a fount of information when it comes to choosing a topic. Oh, somehow this got, there we go. We're a little mixed up in my slides here, apparently. So I'm gonna take a look at the chat. I see I have a couple of questions here. Sandra Day, you are here somewhere. And if I go back to my chat function here. Yes, Mark, I'd be happy to share my presentation with you afterwards. No problem. So I've got the webinar chat. If you go down to the bottom of the screen and you have it there, you should see options either for Q&A or to join the chat here. And so beginning our content brainstorm, what do you most often talk about amongst your branch? So we'll take a few minutes here and we'll do a little bit of content brainstorming. I know one of the, of course, the hot topics right now is the virus. And another hot topic is what we're planting in our gardens. We have one of our newer members who's gone seedling crazy. She said she had 90 different types of seeds growing. And the two aren't unrelated. A lot of the doomsday preppers are talking about all the things that you need in your basic shelf. So Helen says one of the most common topics that they talk about is fundraising. And Helen, when you guys talk about fundraising, do you talk about the initiatives that you've done or the initiatives that you'd like to do? Can I make Helen talk? We have set ways. Helen, I can allow you to talk if you like.
Oh,
Oh, I put you on the spot.
this is my first time. We do 2 rummage sales a year
Oh,
in the
rummage.
spring and in the fall. We do a spring plant auction, which is very well received. We all divide up the plant.
Oh,
We usually raise about $1,200 doing that. And our rummage sales can bring in 1,800 each time. So we're really missing that fundraising right now.
oh, I bet. I bet. But you know, I think those are fantastic topics for a blog. I'd love to hear how you organize your sales and how you organize your plant sales too. I think
Okay.
that's something that could be duplicated in branches across the country. So, for if this example, if you were writing for the WI blog, you've got a couple of great ideas right there as telling people how you guys $1,200 is great.
It is. Yep.
Thank you for being my guinea pig, Helen.
Oh, all right. Well, that was my first time on Zoom too. So
Breaking you
it's
in.
a learning experience.
That's right. All right. Does anybody else have anything that they can share about topics that they talk amongst their branch with or friends? I know Sandra Day, she had the question there. I know she did a great big project on making fidget quilts for people with dementia or just attention deficit, attention issues. So, like Lynn says, projects to help with the community. Those are also great content. And it's not just what you did, but it's how you did it and what the results were, and maybe how you would have done it better or you will do it better the next time. Awesome. Angela says politics and healthcare. Politics is definitely a hot topic if we're speaking moistly about the situation. The latest crafts and decluttering. We did an alcohol ink presentation. Some ladies organized it for our last convention. So, Mary, that's a great idea. And decluttering, spring cleaning. Margaret says, our district does a garden party for a cause, Children's Hospital, every year. They've raised $20,000 in 3 years. That's wonderful. And a concert fundraiser each year, too. Oh, I think those are fantastic ideas. So fundraising is a hot topic, definitely. And letting people know how you did it, what worked, what didn't. Those are excellent blog topics, especially if we're talking about our WIs. Excellent. You know what? I'll add in these ideas. I'll make sure I download this chat and I'll add this into the content brainstorm so that when I'm sharing the slides with everybody, you can see these content ideas. And if we move backwards, because my slides are messed up. Oh, that's the wrong way. What is going on here? There we go. So moving into some writing tips. So we've got our ideas. We've talked about seeds and fundraising and politics and crafts. The first tip when you're writing a blog post, now if we return to those essays that I wrote in middle school, we began with an introduction, we have the body of our work, and then we have a conclusion. And we want to let the reader know within the first few sentences or the first 2 paragraphs max what the blog post is about. Don't make them wait until the middle of the article to figure out what you're getting at. Instead, hook the reader within the first few sentences. If you wait until the 3rd paragraph to drive home your message, you'll have missed the proverbial boat. And again, jumping forward. That's what else I'll do is I'll put these slides in order. That'll be exciting for the reception. Short and sweet titles. So once you write your article and you're starting to look at it, your title should only be about 5 to 7 words long. Think about it like a newspaper article title and how they induce a reader to stop and look. It's also a secondary reason is that most search engines display 50 to 60 characters. So if you want your title to display properly in your search engine results, it should be under 60 characters to make sure that people know what they're clicking on. Back in middle school, we had nice big fat paragraphs. When you read a book, they have super long sentences. But when we're reading online, our attention is easily distracted, especially if there's some ads on the side or some flashing things or kids behind you. So one of the ways that we can make our writing better when we're writing blogs and articles for the internet is to use shorter sentences and simpler words. So the white space on our page between each will help the reader digest your message. And while we may want to appear more intelligent by using jargon, acronyms, and complex words, we can alienate the reader that way. So especially, my husband is in the military, but sometimes I think WI Canada is just as bad for its acronyms. First time using an acronym, spell out exactly what that is. Federated Women's Institute of Canada, and then in brackets you can say WI Canada or FWIC, things like that. Again, another thing is you want to write to one person, not to a group. I know personally, I feel a greater connection when I believe someone is talking directly to me. And with online being harder to keep my attention, that's more important than ever. So when you are writing your blog post, think about just one reader and pretend that you are writing or speaking to just that one person at a time. Grammar and spelling matter. Although I will say there are numerous online companies who don't believe that it's worthwhile to fix typos and corrections. They say at the time, worth it. This is how it goes. Mike, stop. My dog just attacked my cat. Excellent. Working from home during COVID-19. Spelling and grammar. So there's lots of people who don't fix their typos. And then there's also those public relations people who say any attention is good attention, and they will purposely misspell things to get more engagement on an article or a post. But that's when we're learning, that's not what we're aiming for. So for WI Canada, for example, when we're thinking about how we're writing to, we would want to use the Canadian spelling of words, and it's Z. I'm passionate about the Zs. You might consider whether you use an Oxford comma, which is when you're listing something, whether you put a comma before the word and. And there's tools like Grammarly. Grammarly is a free Chrome extension. It's spelled Grammarly, so Grammarly. And you can download it and it will automatically check your work for spelling and proper grammar for you. It's not perfect and you have to set it for Canada versus the US, and I usually figure out where I misspell things after I hit send myself. But it is a huge help, especially in those situations where you're not sure I before E, except after C. Moving forward, test your writing. One of the easiest way to do that is to read your piece aloud. And it's often when we're tripping over trying to say something that we realize we could say it in a simpler way. Or I love this. I read the first sentence of each paragraph. And as I go through my article and I read that first sentence of each, if anything is out of whack, I'll see that. If I'm all of a sudden talking about something in left field rather than focusing on my subject, that's one of the really quick and easy ways to figure out if I've got good flow in my work. And then there's a tool called the Hemingway app, which will grade your work. So I can include the link on that, but you copy your article into it, and I should say copy and paste your article into it, and it will tell you how easy your article is to read. Now, most people aim for a grade 9, which is really quite, if you think about it, it's quite low. And it's just, that's your school grade. So a grade 9 reading level is what you're generally focusing on. And of course, you can ask a friend to read the article for you. If they pick up what you're putting down, then you know you're good to go. If they're confused, you know you have to go back and take a second look. Now, part of the reason we write for the web and we do these things is so that we will be found and people will learn about us. For WI Canada, it's important to optimize all of our articles for search engines so that when people are looking for women's groups in Canada, we want WI Canada or FWIC to appear in the search results. So this is your, google.com, DuckDuckGo, Bing, any of your browsers, that search functionality, that's the search engine. And since they go through billions of pieces of work online, we have to help the search engines by telling them what our article is about. They're not smart like people. They use algorithms and they look for patterns. Search engines see keywords or subjects. They see titles. They see headings. Usually the heading 1 is what they're reading. They're looking for articles of more than 300 words. If it's less than that, they don't think it's really an article. They think it's something quick. It's not the same. They're looking links to and from an article that tells the search engine that it's a reliable piece of work. Because search engines aren't people, they can't see our pictures. So they're looking for descriptions of our images, and they're looking for popularity. The more people read an article or go to a web page, the more value search engines will give it. Oh. So when we're writing an article, look at me, I went through this so quickly that I didn't even realize it was this fast. So when we're writing an article, if we want to write for search engines, we pick one subject to write about. So we wouldn't, running back to our examples, we wouldn't go back to fundraising and do an entire article just about fundraising because it's so broad. But if we went, how to plan a rummage sale, that's a really specific subject, and it will help the search engine see what it is because it's not all over the place. It's looking for titles, so we want to use our words. We want to say something about rummage sales in our title. Same with our headings. So we want to keep reminding the search engine what the article is about. And then we want to include links and image descriptions and popularity. How we do that is we share our work. So we distribute it on social media or tell our friends and our collaborators about it and that sort of thing. So to recap, I'm going to move to the questions slide here and I'm going to open it up. First and foremost, when you're learning to blog, it's to write good content, write quality content that you're interested in reading and that other people would be interested in learning about. When you're brainstorming content, it's take a big thing like fundraising and you can break it down into rummage sales and plant sales and concerts, one person had said. You have all those different ideas that you can start to brainstorm content about. And as we've proven here by how many times fundraising came up in our brainstorm, that's definitely a topic that our WI members are interested in. When you're writing, get to the point, tell your reader what they're writing, what they're reading, what they're learning about. Be short and sweet in your title, as well as in your sentences and paragraphs. And a lot of writing you'll see will use headers and bullets just to keep drawing the reader back in. Grammar and spelling matter. Things are more readable when the grammar is correct and when the spelling is right. And have somebody review your writing. If not, read it out loud to yourself. Use an app like Hemingway. And then search engines. Now, search engine optimization is less important than writing an interesting article. SEO is secondary in the good blog writing process. And that's making sure that you're keeping to one subject, even if you use synonyms for different ways to say fundraising. I have my trusty Webster's thesaurus always beside me here. It's using titles and headings and making sure my article is more than 300 words. Generally, if you get longer, 1,200, 1,800 words, that's a big article and a lot to read. It definitely has its place, but I wouldn't say that every article needs to be that big. And of course, to use images so that you have the image descriptions, and making sure that you're pressing publish and you're sharing it so that it can build popularity. Now that was a very quick 20-minute walkthrough on learning to blog. What have I missed? What questions do you have? That's not what I wanted to do. Opening up the chat and our participants. If you have a question and you'd like to talk, you can raise your hand in the panel. If you go down to the bottom. I don't have any questions open. Oh, you have one in the chat here. Can I talk a little bit more about links from articles? So Angela, can I make you talk and you can ask me that question a little bit more? All right, Angela, if you unmute yourself, you can chat.
Okay, I'm here.
Thanks, Angela. What's up?
I'm not sure what you mean by links from articles. Does that mean you have to give references?
Well, you may want to. For example, in this presentation, you may have noticed that I linked back to ProBlogger, Moz, Wikipedia. Those things show that I've done my research. If this was a blog post, it would show the search engine that I've done my research and I have, possibly cited other people. And so and if you are running a blog, you could also link to your own articles.
Okay.
So it's just, like you say, that's exactly, it's citations, saying that you've done your work. And if you wanted more information that you're not going to talk about right then, you can link out to that.
Okay. Could it also be a reference to a location like WI Canada?
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. So if you were writing for something on, say, the NB, I know you're from New Brunswick, the New Brunswick Women's Institute blog, and you could link out to FWIC when you spoke about them. And that, again, would show that that you're doing your due diligence, and it helps the search engines lend credence to your article for sure.
Do we need to get permission for that?
Nope.
Okay.
No, you don't. If we borrow, in next week's presentation on Canva, we'll talk about stealing photographs and how we cannot do that. For photographs, you have to ask for permission. And just like if you remember back in high school or university when you wrote a really big article and you had to quote a long piece of work from somebody else's, if you were to copy word for word, say 3-4 paragraphs from somebody else's post, then I would recommend asking permission.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That's great. Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, Lynn's asking, how often should you blog? That's really something that you need to decide for yourself as well. It can be extremely tiring to blog quite a bit. And therefore, if you feel that you can write once a week, write once a week. If you want to write something every day, write every day. But whatever you choose, think about how consistent that you'll be able to be, will you be burnt out writing every day? Then maybe don't write every day. The other thing is when you are regularly putting material up on your blog, it lets your readers as well as the search engines know that your website is dynamic. Things continue to happen there. So it will, and your readers will, check back more often to see what's the latest thing up on your website. So again, how often is really a personal question. Weekly allows you to have a lot of information to share and allows your website to be really dynamic. But maybe monthly, whatever it is, be consistent about it so that you can set expectations for your readers. Elaine, if I didn't answer that comprehensively enough, but oh, she says thanks. Perfect. Mary asked, can more than one person join a blog, or is this just for one person to write? You can have as many people write on your blog as you like. So actually, if you'd like to write for WI Canada, we'd love to help you. I know both there's a project committee doing Hearth is Where the Home Is and the communications committee who are both working on contributing more content to the website so that we can build conversations amongst our members from coast to coast and help build that sense of community that we're all members of WI for. So for your blog, it's for the WI Canada blog, each article is attributed to the author. So Mary, if you were to attribute an article, we would just say it was by you. However, if you were to start your own blog, you are more than welcome to not only write posts just yourself, but to invite friends to write on your blog or to have guest posters or to interview people. The bonus of the blog is it's really as creative as you want to be. So Mary, let me know if you have any further questions on that. Helen asks, where do you send your blog? What do you do with what you write? So if you were to write for WI Canada, you would email info@fwic.ca with your article. If you were to start your own blog, you could use one of the many options around the internet. WordPress.com is a free, and Blogger.com both offer free blog options. You can build your own website and get your own hosting. That's available too, and it's not that expensive. It's something that you are interested in. That's where we see the influencers and the travel bloggers or the mommy bloggers come into play. They have their own websites, they talk about their own things. But if you would like to write for the Women's Institute, we'd love to have your posts for our blog as well. Did I answer you fully, Helen? Did you have any further questions there? And do I have any questions from the group? I don't see any other questions. Oh, thank you, Helen. Be interesting to see if you guys can all see it. Can you guys see that little mess at that little window when I pop it up there? Is that visible to everybody? So do we have any more questions about writing blogs? Is it clear as mud? Did I miss anything that you wish that I would cover? If you have any questions, or if you'd rather ask it on a private channel, I do help monitor the info@fwic.ca web email address, and you're more than welcome to send your questions to that address around. Or, pardon me, I got distracted. Megan asks about newsletters. Rather than clicking to my site, is it better to send an email? So I'm going to use the WI Canada website as an example for this. We didn't publish a newsletter in April, but we published a newsletter in March. And we broke away from our old format to just provide lead-ins and links to our website so that people could, oh, I'm interested in that, click on the link and head back to the WI Canada website to read the article in full. When we look at our statistics for the website, we had so many more viewers in March than April. April kind of took a dive. Not that COVID helps anything, but because we didn't send out a newsletter sending people back to our website, significantly fewer people went to look at our website. And if your reader is not going to your website, they're not seeing your other offers or suggestions. Now, if you're just writing a blog, that might be all you want, is them just to read the article. So if you send out the same content of your blog post in your newsletter, that might be good enough for you. But if you are hoping that your website is discoverable and ranks well with search engines, then you want to encourage your readers to go back to your website on a regular basis. So what I would recommend is a newsletter recapping what's latest on your blog and sending your readers back to the website to read the articles. So to answer your question, actually, Megan, it's a bit of column A, a bit of column B. If there's mud, let me know. Angela wants to know, what are some great blogs to follow? Angela, what kind of things are you interested in reading about? Do you want me to make you talk again? I can unmute.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, what kind of blogs are you interested in?
I don't know. I've never followed any.
Well, for bloggers, there's a website called blogger.com. Snippets. And they put on blogging conferences for women. And because of COVID, they're doing everything online. So their blog, as you can see, they're doing Healthy at Home, a digital half day with speakers such as these famous people. Their blog posts are everything from parenting and mommy bloggers to opinions and op-eds. So this is one, if you're interested in being a blogger on a bigger basis. Problogger.com is another great website to learn about blogging. So, and this gentleman sends out regular information on how to make money from a blog, how to start a blog or create content and find readers. So that's another one.
Sounds good.
I know, you know, anything, if you wanted to learn about seeds or if you wanted to learn about homesteading, this Georgia, she's got a blog. All your favorite chefs. Oh, Pioneer Woman has a fantastic blog. I happen to know
really?
that Angela likes read the Pioneer Women. And she's got a great blog. So this lady, she does hunting and fishing and homesteading and cooking. That's another great blog, Pioneer Woman. Pioneer Woman Cooks.
Excellent. That's good. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah. And I know we were talking, one of the other questions about, is it just you or is it a lot of people? You can see in the Pioneer Woman's blog, is it's not always her that writes the articles either. So if I go to her homepage, some of her articles are indeed by her, but some of the articles are by other people. And she also recommends other websites, Food and Friends. So when you're starting a blog, if that's something that you wanted to do, you can see she has a lady named Erica writing this article for her. Dara writes that. It doesn't all have to be you. So do we have any other questions today, or should we wrap up? All right. Thank you, oh, Helen, unmute.
I just wanted to say thanks very much for doing this. It just opens up the world in a great big way. Well, I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, Helen, and especially right now during COVID. Aren't you finding that you're doing so much more online too?
Not really. I've been sewing face masks, so I haven't had time to go online.
Oh, there you go.
And now my phone.
All right. Thanks again, Helen. I'm going to mute you, and everybody's saying thank you for sharing and heading out. So I'll close down the webinar. I'll make this recording available, and I will share the slides with everybody who attended here today once I add in our content brainstorming there. Thank you again, everybody.